James up here to do some stand-up comedy for everybody, and then we're going to begin the open read when James is finished. I'm going to announce all the readers I have signed up for the open read. We're going to get through as many as we can in 20 minutes, and the rest will go back on at the end of the open mic. So James, come on up.
I'm reminded of one Irish proverb that was, never let the truth get away with a good story, right? That's what I'm talking about. I've got a few stories for you myself here, a little more homegrown college age here. I have this one in particular, but I'll start off with actually a question. Who here owns a cellular phone? Raise your hands. Alright. Now, who here owns a cellular phone that has gone off during a class? Okay, alright. Slightly proportionate. At any rate, I'm one of them. And so I was in the middle of this ethics class earlier this week, and my cell phone ringer went off. And I really have to play you the actual ringer for you to get what happens next. So all of a sudden, the teacher's talking about utilitarian ethics, and this goes off. And I'm fumbling around trying to stop it. And she says, "That sounds like Christmas. At least you can get us a nice springy ringertone, James." I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. I'll do better next time. And that's really what it's all about, making fun of those moments like that. I had another moment when the ringer went off on me. But this professor, she was not as nice. But she actually answered my phone and said, "James isn't here, actually. James isn't here. He can't talk right into the class. Click, goodbye." She handed it back to me and says, "Oh, okay, I think we've thoroughly embarrassed you now." I said, "Oh, it takes a lot more than that to embarrass me." That's why I get up on stage, right? Something else that happened to me back in that ethics class is the professor, over the course of this semester, we get all these different ethical theories. There's Aristotelian ethics, there's Confucian ethics, there's utilitarian ethics, there's divine command, and all of these other ones. And so for this one home assignment that I thought was due earlier than it actually was, it was like 30 minutes worth of work, and I was trying to do it in 3 minutes. There were like 8 speakers in this. And we were supposed to determine which speaker was which type of ethical person. So were they a Confucian? Were they a utilitarian? Were they all this? And like, Confucian is somebody that, trying to understand the ethical theory, they're supposed to like, keep apart this idea of Ray, which is you treat everybody as a human being, like that's Dave. And Ren is like, you follow the historical context of the relationship you're in. And then utilitarian ethics, most people are familiar with, is maximize happiness, lower status for everyone involved. And so, you know what I did with that in mind? I wrote everything down on that assignment in 3 minutes as utilitarian ethics. I figured, put it in use, right? Maximize the profits. I put that in, I got the whole class rolling the aisles and I told them that. It's even funnier when you spend a whole semester studying what ethics are. But speaking of studying things, one time this week, I was talking to a professor of mine who was a film professor. And I'm always asking him all these sorts of questions, so I want to keep in good grace with him, so he always answers me frankly. So when we were in his office, he says, "Hey, James, what do you think of this new picture I got out there?" I said, "Oh boy, this is my favorite game. How do I make it sound like it's a really good picture, but not be overly complimentary? It's a really interesting game." And I knew I had won that game. Whenever I told him, I think that's like an 85 out of 100, and that's a 50. He said, "Yeah, you're right, I agree with that." I went, whoosh, had the right answer. And that's why I generally like pause to read these, because by the time I read the next one, somebody will have gotten the joke. You know, another thing I've been thinking about lately that takes a lot of decisive power is when you name a child. I've never done that, so it's always seemed like a mystery to me why it takes somebody so long to do it. I mean, it's like a cottage industry just for naming children, right? There's all these sorts of websites, God knows how many books. And I said, why is this? I mean, we've all heard so many names. But then I realized, it's because we've all been pissed off by so many people with so many names. That's why it takes so long. You go down the list, and you're like, oh man, I don't like this person, I don't like this person. By the time you get to it, the weird names that you come up with are the ones you've never met anybody with. So that's why either that or you make one up. So I finally figured it out when I sat down and asked myself, how would I name a kid? That's how it works. And speaking of naming things, we're currently in, let's do a little test here. Anybody know the name of this department that we're currently in right now?
SRC.
I think it's, let's see your library director. What is this department under? Who do you get your paycheck from? Student. Oh, yeah, Student Life, right? But it was formerly called Office of Student Activities, right? And so when they changed it this year to Office of Student Life, I asked myself, wow, they're really mean. Why don't they do that? Why are they trying to point out that we spend our lives here as it is? Aaron Bill Brown will tell you Irishman out there. Thank you.
Thank you, James. We're going to start with our open read. I'm going to name all the people I have signed up for the open read. If you're here and you didn't check in and you still want to do the open read, come